guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to yet another video. Today we are looking at the Bookies, the bookmakers' predictions for the League 2 season of 2023-2024. I've already given you my early League 2 predictions, guys. Do feel free to share your predictions down in the comments. I do find this league very fascinating. Remember, 4 teams go up, 2 teams go down. What are your predictions? Get them down below. Before we get into this video, guys, do make sure, of course, to hit that like button. Let's go for 351 likes on this one. Do make sure to hit that like button if you want to see more League 2 content, and do make sure to subscribe, and let's get in to the Bookies League 2 predictions. So then, guys, just like with my early League 2 predictions, we're doing it on a tier list. We're just going to have a little look at what the bookmakers think is going to happen this season. Their top 7, the teams going up automatically and finishing in the playoffs. The top half, the teams sniffing around the playoffs. The teams in mid-table, the teams avoiding the drop, and the bottom 2, the 2 teams going down to the National League. Let's go and do the bottom 2 together. The bookies have gone for Harrogate Town and Crawley Town. I do find this interesting. I think a lot of people expect both Notts County and Wrexham to do well coming up, at least to avoid the drop, should we say. And what happens then is 2 different teams need to fill the void. Now, I'm sure if you're a Crawley or a Harrogate fan, you don't want it to be you. Crawley Town and Harrogate Town did both just get over the line last season, Crawley in 22nd place. The bookies think these 2 are going to drop down. If you're a Crawley or Harrogate fan and you think you're going to stay up, do let me know down below, but let me know which teams you think will go down instead. I think it's very hard separating the teams down at the bottom of League 2, but they have gone for Crawley and Harrogate, who just survived last season, to go down this season to the National League. Let's move on to the teams surviving then. Let's do it one at a time now. First up, they've gone for Crewe Alexandra. This would be a poor season from Crewe to just avoid the drop. I mean, it could be worse. They could be in that bottom 2, but if they were to finish where the bookies think in 22nd, that is a poor season considering Crewe are an established Football League club. Now, at the time of recording this, the manager's gone. I think he's going to Stoke City. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the latest at the time of recording this video. It does leave Crewe in an interesting position going into the new season. They finished 13th last year, so it's not even like the bookies are going for them to do the same as last year. They think they're going to get worse, which I'm a little bit surprised by. I just don't know. Do Crewe fall down the table this far? If you're a Crewe fan, do let us know your thoughts. I mean, I don't know if there's any Crewe fans out there that are feeling pessimistic coming into this new season. The bookmakers think you're going to have a weak season anyway, down in 22nd place. Another team just getting over the line that the bookmakers have gone for anyway are Morecambe. This would be a real drop down the division. Morecambe have just come down from League 2, and the bookies don't think they're going to be anywhere near bouncing back. Like I say, League 2 looks tough. The teams coming up and the teams coming down make it look a very tough division. I think this is, I'd go as far as to say League 2 probably looks the toughest it has done for a few years. I do think that League 2 does look tough this year, but Morecambe are a club that will be hoping to push back up the divisions. They'll be hoping to at least be sniffing around the playoffs this season. As I say, the bookmakers don't think that'll be the case. Do let me know your thoughts if you're a Morecambe fan. Which players should we be watching out for this season? I don't know, we'll wait and see, but the bookies think you're going to be in that relegation mess, but you're going to get over the line in the bookmakers' eyes anyway. On to 20th place, the bookies have gone for Colchester United. I do find it interesting when the bookmakers go for a team to finish exactly where they did the season before. Colchester United finished 20th last year, and the bookies reckon it'll be a similar kind of story. I don't know. If you're a Colchester United fan, do share your thoughts. You'll probably have better knowledge than the bookmakers, and probably myself as well. Do you think there's going to be players coming in or reasons to be positive for this season as opposed to last season, or do you think it will be a similar kind of season where you're going to be down in that bottom echelons of the table? Because the bookmakers think it's going to be another poor season here for Colchester United. Just above them then in 19th place are Barrow, and we'll also bring up 18th place at the same time because it is Sutton. This is interesting. The bookmakers think these 2 sides that were both sniffing around the playoffs last year are going to really plummet down the division this year. If you are a Barrow or Sutton United fan, I don't think you'd be too pleased with this prediction, obviously, because like I say, it's just really not where you were last season. But I don't know, it's going to be interesting. What I do know about these 2 sides that they do have in common is they have come up from the National League, from non-league football, both quite a few seasons ago now, and they've climatised in League 2, to be honest. They've both had seasons where they've been pushing towards the playoffs and to get to League 1. Obviously, the bookies don't think you're going to go down, but they do think you're going to go down the table, if that makes sense. So Do share your thoughts if you support one of those two teams. Do you agree with the bookies, or can you make a case of arguing against them? Do share your thoughts coming into the new season. Let's start pushing towards the middle of the table. The bookmakers have gone for Newport County to pretty much finish exactly where they did last season. While Newport County did finish in 15th place last season, they were actually only 5 points behind 9th place and did have a better goal difference than them last season. So it just goes to show the nature of how tight it is in this division. At the time of recording this video, I've just had a little look and seen that Newport County have got quite a bit of business going on. There's been 1 or 2 players going out, 1 or 2 players signing new deals. I do think Omar Bogle is very integral to Newport County. I mean, he was their top goal scorer last season. We shall see with Newport County. The bookmakers think they're literally going to hold where they were last season, around mid-table. Let's move on to the next team just ahead of Newport County. The bookmakers have gone for AFC Wimbledon to climb the division a little bit. It's weird. I predicted Wimbledon to do well last season, and then they really had a poor season, finishing down in 21st. It seemed as a club they were going in the right direction over the last 10-15 years, and then I don't know, have they hit a ceiling and they're starting to make their way back down? I don't know. I mean, Wimbledon originally, the old Wimbledon, were a top flight club. They played in the top flight. They won the FA Cup in 1988, but I don't know, what's the general direction for Wimbledon? I do have a lot of time for Wimbledon, and I think I've predicted them to have a good season this time round. The bookies are putting them right in the middle of the table. They think they're going to do better than last season, but we shall see. If you're a Wimbledon fan, do share your thoughts, of course, coming into the new season. Let's keep moving up the table. In mid-table as well, we have got Walsall. The bookmakers with Walsall are pretty much doing what they did for Newport County and Colchester United, saying that they're going to pretty much finish exactly where they did last season. Actually, it looks as if Walsall are maybe 1 or 2 places above on this table than they were last season. They finished 16th last year. Walsall are certainly a team with the capability to push back towards League One. That was where they were a few seasons ago. It felt as if they ended last season in some really poor form, so maybe the summer break will do them good. We shall see. If you're a Walsall fan, do share your thoughts on that one. The bookies have put you slap bang in the middle here. Just above Walsall, the bookmakers are going for Forest Green Rovers, another team that have come down. Interestingly enough, Forest Green Rovers finished below Morecambe in League One. They were at the foot of the table, but they think they'll do better than Morecambe in League Two. It's going to be interesting. Forest Green Rovers was so good when they were in League Two last time, but obviously what's changed since then is obviously quite a lot of the players are going to be different, and Rob Edwards was such a good manager for them, and obviously he's now in the Premier League with Luton Town. Just goes to show what a brilliant manager Forest Green Rovers did have then. But I think the foundations at the club are pretty steady. Obviously they were a bit of a small fish in a big pond when they were in League One, but there's no reason why Forest Green Rovers can't make a good push towards getting back to League One football, at least be sniffing around the playoffs. The bookmakers have put them right in the middle of the table here. As I say, I do think League Two is going to be very competitive. Let's move on to the next team, just above Forest Green Rovers, another team that have gone down, Accrington Stanley. I don't know what to expect from Accrington Stanley this time round. They were in League Two last 5 years ago. I remember that season because my team Coventry were in League Two the same season Accrington won League Two, and they were very good then, and they did so well to consolidate in League One over the last 5 years. Unfortunately for them, obviously last year they came down. They will have solid enough foundations. There are going to be clubs with bigger resources, though, in League Two. I mean, even some of the clubs coming up will be competing to finish ahead of the likes of Accrington Stanley this season. Once again, I think I'm going to draw the same conclusion as I did with Forest Green Rovers, that Accrington Stanley are a team with the capability to get around the playoffs, but the bookmakers think they're going to be right in the middle of the table, not a million miles away from that top 7. Share your thoughts if you're an Accrington Stanley fan, of course. Let's move on to the top half then. Which teams are going to be sniffing around the playoffs? Well, let's do 10th, 11th and 12th together, because very interestingly, it's the teams that did finish 10th, 11th and 12th last year. Swindon Town, Tranmere Rovers and Grimsby Town. Now, these three are all pretty big clubs, although they're obviously different clubs. I think they've all got an eye on the playoff picture this season. As I say, they weren't a million miles away from it. In the end, they did finish 10th, 11th and 12th. And are the bookmakers being lazy by saying that these teams will finish pretty much in the same exact positions as they did last year? We shall see. Wouldn't surprise me if we saw 1 or 2 of these maybe get into the top 7 this time round. I think I've backed Swindon Town in my early predictions to get in there. I feel like Swindon Town are a solid team. They're a club that have been promoted from this level before, and One thing I will say about all three of these clubs is they've all got fantastic fan bases. So all three of Swindon, Tranmere and Grimsby Town would be a fantastic addition to League One. But as I say, this is the bookmakers' predictions and they're being lazy by saying these three teams are going to literally finish the same they did last season. Like I say, I'm intrigued to see how these three get on. Swindon Town, as I say, I've been to their ground before actually. I quite like the county ground. Good away day, good fun, passionate fan base. Tranmere is actually a ground I want to tick off in League Two. I don't know when I'm going to get the opportunity to. And Grimsby Town, obviously a fantastic fan base. They did brilliant in the FA Cup last year. And did you see how many thousands of fans they took to Brighton? That was fantastic. Like I say, coming into the new season, let's see what business these three do. But it's pretty boring from the bookmakers. They're saying they're going to finish where they did last season. On to the next team then. Another team just falling short of the top 7 in the bookmakers' eyes are Doncaster Rovers. Now this would be an improvement for Doncaster Rovers, who did finish down in 18th place last year. Certainly a club once again that know how to get promoted from this level. At the time of recording this video, I've just had a little look at Doncaster Rovers' business and they look like they've been very busy already. They've got a couple of players there that I'm actually quite familiar with. Jamie Sterry, Zane Westbrook signed a new deal, and I've seen them starting to grab a few players from different clubs as well. So Doncaster Rovers, it looks like they're making a push towards getting back to League One. We shall see if they do it this time round. Up next then, in 8th place, the bookies are going for Salford. Salford to drop 1 place in the bookmakers' predictions. They finished 7th last year. The bookies think they're going to be 8th. I think I agree with the bookmakers here that Salford City are a club that are going to be pushing for the playoffs. I think they've got the right foundations there. They've got decent ownership there. And I wouldn't be entirely surprised if we do see Salford City break through to League One in the next couple of years. The bookmakers think they're going to just be outside the playoffs there in 8th place. Let's move on to that top 7 then. The first team the bookies are going for are Gillingham. They think Gillingham are going to finish in 7th place, which would be a drastic improvement on last season. Maybe like just what we said with Doncaster Rovers, there's going to be big business going on at Gillingham this season and they can make a better fist of getting back to League One. I feel like they'll try and make their ground a tricky one to go to. I think they're going to be a strong home team next year, and like I say, the bookmakers do like the look of Gillingham coming into the new season. If you're a Gills fan, do you agree with this, that you're going to just sneak into that top 7? Up next, 6th place, the relegated MK Dons. The bookmakers think MK Dons will perform the best out of the 4 relegated sides. They put MK Dons in 6th place, the only team coming down to get into that top 7. I think I do agree with the bookmakers that MK Dons should be one of the strongest. I mean, they did just go down. It seemed really painful in the end, the way that Cambridge United just snuck past them on the final day. But I think MK Dons will make a good fist of it, and I think they've got better resources than some of the clubs in this division. So I do think they'll make a good push to get back to League One. If you're an MK fan, do share your thoughts down below. The bookies have put you in 6th place. On to 5th place, and the bookmakers have gone for Bradford City. Now, Bradford finished 6th last year, so this is obviously a 1 place improvement. Bradford will be hoping to go 1 better than last year, where they fell short in the playoff semi-finals to Carlisle United. I think Bradford City have got to get back to League One at some point. They are a big club for this level, and I've already started to see that they're bringing players in. I've seen that their business looks all right so far. I agree with the bookmakers in Bradford City being a team pushing to League One football. So let me know your thoughts if you're a Bantams fan. I don't think you'll disagree with that one. Next up, 4th place, the bookies are going for Mansfield. Also a team that I've noticed have started to be bringing in 1 or 2 players at the time of recording this video. I think Mansfield Town are going to make a better fist of pushing for League One football again this time. Obviously, they've had a couple of near misses where they've lost out in the playoff final to Port Vale, and last season where they just fell short of the playoffs. Mansfield fans, do share your thoughts. As I say, you're starting to bring players in. I think there's an expectancy with this club because they are a decent sized club for this level and they've been pushing towards League One for a few years after being promoted from the National League. I think there is that expectancy that they will get to League One soon. The bookies think you'll finish in 4th place. So then on to the top 3, and not very often do the bookies go for both sides that have come up from the National League to go through the division, but they have this time round. Let's start with Notts County. Notts County were brilliant in the National League last year. If people are saying Wrexham are the best team we've ever seen in the National League, then you've got to say Notts County were the 2nd best team. They pushed them all the way, and I'm so glad that they won the playoffs because it would have been criminal for them to have not got promoted, considering the amount of points that they got on the board, the amount of goals they scored. They played really good stuff. A few players that stood out to me were Rodriguez and Langstaff, and I think they're going to bring in some good players coming into this season. Jody Jones is obviously a player I've got a lot of affection for as a Coventry City fan, and he used to play for us. I think Notts County will push. The bookmakers maybe being a bit generous, putting them in the top 3. Not to say that I don't think they will be in the top 3. I certainly think they're going to be in that conversation. When I did my early League 2 predictions, I did put Notts County in that top 7. It's hard to say where at the moment because this is looking very competitive. But if you're a Notts County fan, do share your thoughts. The bookies think you will go through to League One, which would be great to see. Obviously, a very traditional club with a very good fan base. On to second place, Stockport County. What's interesting here is, as I say, we've seen Notts County and we'll come on to Wrexham in a minute, but these three sides were all in the National League 2 years ago because Stockport have only been back in the Football League 1 year. They were so close to going straight through. I predicted them to be in and around that top 3 last season and they just fell short, finishing in 4th place and then losing in the playoff final on penalties. The bookies think Stockport County will bounce back. They think that they're going to go strong again next year, and I find that hard to argue. If you're a Stockport fan, what's your thoughts coming into the new season? Surely you're still filled with optimism despite the painful ending to last season. Let me know your thoughts if you're a Stockport fan. I'm intrigued to see what business goes through in the entirety of this summer, but I think Stockport County will make a better fist of it next year, and I agree with the bookies on this one, Stockport County being in that top 3. So then on we come to the top of the table team, and the bookies have gone for Wrexham. They think Wrexham will win League 2. Now I've already seen some people with conflicting views on this one, some people saying that Wrexham aren't going to do that well because there's a step up in quality. There is a lot of people that do think Wrexham will do well, one of them being the bookies, one of them being myself. I do think Wrexham are going to do well. I think, as we've said, the foundations have been laid at this club. There's certainly an upward trajectory now that they've got through the National League, and like we say, there's teams that find it easier getting through League 2. Not to say League 2 is an easier division, but because 4 teams go up, there's a good chance Wrexham could get straight into League 1 at the first time of asking. The bookmakers think you're going to win the league. They believe in the magic work of Ryan and Rob and Phil Parkinson, and Ben Foster's signed a new year deal, which is absolutely fantastic to see. And as we've said, Wrexham have some really passionate fans. So they've gone for Wrexham, Stockport and Notts County to be the automatic teams, with Mansfield, Bradford, MK Dons and Gillingham completing that top 7. So then guys, do let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Do you agree with the bookmakers League 2 predictions for the 23-24 season? Let me know down in the comments if you support one of these teams, or even if you don't. Do make sure to drop a like and subscribe. I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.